water, nature's purest fuel. A fuel that is clean, plentiful, that can be used in its natural state, and unlike fossil fuels, can be reused. The cycle of reuse is a long one, tied to the rhythms of nature. It is the seaward flow of moving water. It is the formation of weather and the return of water as snowfall that awaits the spring thaw. It is a year-long process measured by the seasons. Our demand for electrical power is urgent, but the cycle is short, more likely measured in hours rather than months. The men and women of Pacific Gas and Electric Company are at work to harmonize the rhythms of nature with the needs of man. In the High Sierra, a new season begins, and construction continues on a massive undertaking, the Helms Pumped Storage Project. Singular in its size and scope, the project consists of nearly 4 miles of tunnels and a powerhouse the size of a football field, all located underground. Helms will be a part of PG&E's diverse array of power-generating facilities that include hydroelectric, fossil fuel, geothermal, and nuclear. Designed to supplement the supply during times of high demands for electricity, Helms will reduce the possibility of power shortages. Basically, Helms is a conventional hydroelectric facility, but in its essence, it possesses the solution to a supply problem. It can reuse its own fuel. Located between 2 existing reservoirs, Helms can be brought online quickly. Water from the higher reservoir flows inside a 27-foot diameter tunnel through a solid granite mountain. Propelled by the force of gravity, it drops over 1,700 feet to the powerhouse, where it spins the turbines that drive the generators, which produce more than 1 million kilowatts of electricity. At night or on weekends, when the demand for electricity is low, Helms draws on power available from other plants to turn its reversible generators and turbines into giant electric motors and pumps. The water from the lower reservoir is returned to the upper reservoir for reuse when it is needed. The system will save customers millions of dollars that otherwise would have to be spent to build and operate a fossil-fueled power plant. But the story of Helms is more than the concept of pumped storage. It is the story of a construction project, heroic in its proportions, and the people who make it possible.
Construction is the only business to be in.
PG&E Project Superintendent Bob Farley has been at Helms from the beginning.
Tremendous people to work with. It's different than almost any other type of work. There's something new. There's a challenge every day. You don't get bored. You don't get tired of it. It's just a real challenge, and it's just a good place to make a living.
Here's my brass.
Everyone going underground at Helms is issued a pair of brass discs bearing an identifying number. One of these discs is left at a brassing station to be picked up on return to the surface. The other is hooked in a conspicuous place on the wearer's belt. One look at the brass board tells how many are underground and who they are. Tunneling has come a long way from the days of the 49ers. Today at Helms, lasers are used to line and grade the tunnels, giving precise guidelines for the miners' drills.
Why do I like mining? I don't know. I think it's just the challenges go with it and trying to control the ground. You know it can, if you don't control it, they can eat you up.
Dean Hansen, Powerhouse Construction Superintendent, got his first mining job in Healy, Alaska over 25 years ago. From his earliest days, he has been a man who lives his own legend.
I like mining because of the competition between the crews, and I like miners because of their forthrightness, their honoring us, and they're an honest group of working people. They work hard, they play hard, and I think they're just a hell of a bunch of guys.
Jeff, and everything's clear. Okay, what am I talking to? Ken. Intersection, okay, 10-4. We'll lighter in about 2 minutes, then. Echo and Chef clear. T2 clear.
We can reuse everything that we take out of the mountain. Everything, in fact, that does come out is used either in backfill or road fill, or it's sent to the crushing plant and ultimately batched out as concrete and returned to the project.
In charge of the intake structure at Lake Washon is PG&E field engineer Marcy Perdue.
The embeds are right on and everything, so we shouldn't have any major problem getting that poured tomorrow. Let's see, and iron workers, we've got 2 plus 1. By golly, I hope those surveyors get here. The job at Helms is unique in that what you see on a blueprint that's 3 inches long may turn out to be 70 foot high in reality in a structure. I don't think, unless someone has worked on mass construction, that there is any conceivable reality of what actually goes into the project. I think it's the totality, maybe, of the project that makes it so eminently worthwhile. It's nice to have had the experience working on this type of thing, particularly as it's a one-of-a-kind, almost, proposition, and the chances that you get to work on another project again like this are remote at best.
Morale at the Helms project is important, especially when temperatures dip to 30 below and snow cuts off easy access to the valley. Fresh food, prepared with flair and shared with friends, can give a boost to weary muscles and to the spirits. This is the heart of the Helms project, the powerhouse. Here, 1,000 feet underground, men have hewn a chamber from solid granite. Here, 4 million gallons of water a minute will rush headlong into 3 giant turbines. And here, hidden from the outside world, man and nature will generate over 1 million kilowatts of electricity.
It's a tremendously big hole. Every time I go in there, I'm impressed with the size of it, especially when you get down to the very bottom and look up at it. You don't have to see it for the first time to be impressed, I'll guarantee you that.
The Helms project is environmentally sound in that it is basically hidden.
Bill Tomei, PG&E's resident civil engineer.
Since both reservoirs were existing, the project as a whole has had very minimum amount of impact in that all the major facilities are either underground or underwater. PG&E was involved prior to the licensing of the project with many of the outside agencies and interested and concerned groups. All construction facilities will be removed and the areas will be restored to their natural state. 15 years from now, a person traveling in this area would hardly know the project was there.
From snow to stream to cloud, returning again as summer rain and the snowfalls of winter, nature endlessly repeats its cycle of transformation. Deep within these granite mountains, the Helms pumped storage plant begins its own cycle, harnessing the energy of nature. Through miles of man-made tunnel, rushing water generates power for busy cities and factories. In the quiet of the night, the pumps return the water uphill to be stored and used again. Helms, the hidden power plant, transforming nature's power into energy for people.